So there's this super weird thing with Adobe that when you're a new contributor, they only let you contribute 51 images at a time. Why 51? Your guess is as good as mine. I'm not really sure, but I'm trying not to let my poor brain get all caught up in the fact that it's an odd number, and instead why they've approved a bunch of my images from February, but I still have like 11 images sitting in there from January submission. Hey, thanks for coming back. It's great to see you again. And if YouTube's just introducing us, my name's Tracy from Red in the Wool Photography, and I'm doing these from the ground up stock photography reports each month, where I'm taking you guys along on my journey, telling you all about the weird and wonderful parts of being a stock photographer, and you know, hoping that the number 51 doesn't confuse you as much as it confuses me. Anyway, the point of these monthly updates is that I've really loved and appreciated watching other photographers do their monthly stock reports. It's been really helpful and motivating to me, and I wanted to both join in that conversation and take you guys along on my journey. So if you come across these videos as we're doing them live in March 2024, you can join in this little experiment and we can figure it out together. Or if you find these and it's some other time in March 2024, I'm hoping it's going to be a great step-by-step for what you're in for. Now for reference, today is March 16th and this is my second photography report, which is on February 2024, so last month's updates. I'm chatting about Adobe's weirdness as a brand new contributor, what images I've had rejected across all sites this month, did I hit my February targets, and what my goals are for March of this year, so this month, and last but not least, my sales for February. Timestamps will be below, so if you want to jump around to the bits of info you want, or make yourself comfortable, grab a cup of coffee and let's get into it. In case you missed my last episode, I'm currently submitting photography only, so no AI, design work, videos, or any other assets. And I'm uploading them to Adobe Stock, Shutterstock, Deposit Photos, LME, and Pond5. One portfolio I'm submitting across all the sites, and not every photo is accepted by every agency, but I'm uploading all the exact same photos to those 5 sites. Right, so Adobe. Adobe is that site. It can take ages to get your submissions reviewed. They're a bit pickier than other agencies, generally speaking, and I've got 11 photos still sitting in there from January, still waiting to be reviewed. But the stuff that I put through on the very last day of February took less than a week to be reviewed. So that's done, the other 11 are still sitting in there. Now that means, as I said before, because they only accept 51 images for submission at any one point in time, technically I can have 51 images, but 11 of those at the moment are stuffed down the bottom and aren't going anywhere, aren't moving, which means that actually I can only submit up to 40 at a time currently, which is a little bit frustrating, especially when I wait right till the very last day of the month to make sure I hit my submission targets, and then I can only upload half of them. So just to make that really clear, for every image they review, whether you're accepted or rejected, it frees up a spot to put a new photo in for review. It's like a bucket of 51, so if they tip some out, you can then refill it. You're not stuck waiting to get back to an empty bucket before you can submit again. Anyway, they do seem to be uploading some of my newer images faster, and I don't know if that's because they've caught up maybe after a backlog from like the Christmas holidays, or just dumb luck. So I don't want to give anyone false information that the process speeds up, or if it was just in fact the time when I personally started, which was over the Christmas holidays, so bad luck for me. As mentioned, Adobe is the hardest to please. Truthfully, I'm kind of testing the waters to see what I can and can't get away with, because obviously I don't want to be wasting time when I start photographing for the specific purpose of submitting. Currently, in case you missed the last episode, I'm going through the last 5.5 years since I first picked up a DSLR. So all of the images I'm submitting currently are ones that I already had on my hard drive. Moving forward, I'll be actively creating opportunities to photograph with the sole intent of submitting to stock agencies. So this is a great testing ground to see some of the reasons for rejection, so I can be more intentional with my shoots. So let's start with Adobe first, and I'll share the reviews that I got back and we'll see if you agree with them. So first of all, we're going to go into the back end of Adobe, and you can see that I've got 16 in here that have been rejected because I hadn't titled them correctly, or I'd keyworded them wrong, or I'd put them in and forgotten to put them as editorial. So those you're able to actually resubmit with the corrections, and then Adobe will normally accept them. So the reasons that these ones are in here are
mainly quality standards. So this one's telling us that it's found elements that appear to be protected by intellectual property laws. Now, I'll be honest, this particular one I did take in a restaurant, so quite possibly you can see the menu and stuff in the background, and it's picked up on that. So I can't resubmit these ones. These, funnily enough, these 2 photos are of my daughters with flowers, and I've actually sold both of these on Shutterstock, but it's picking up the converse red line here, I think, because it's telling me again that it's protected by intellectual property. So I can't resubmit these ones here. And what's really interesting is all the other sites have accepted these, so I'm curious why these guys have picked up some sort of copyright infringement or something and the others haven't. That actually goes for these as well. You can see the mouse ears here. This was a Mickey Mouse themed birthday party, even though there's 0 here that says Disney or Mickey Mouse in specific. Just the shape has ended up getting me a intellectual property refusal. So I found that really interesting. I do have a couple in here that were quality issues, so I had put this particular image through with a more vintage look to it, so it's decided that it's not quite good enough. And I did put in these ones here. Again, you can see that they're quality issues. Admittedly, I did take these at night on my old camera, and there probably were noise issues, and I did even crop in. So I'm kind of not surprised that these ones didn't get taken. And then these ones, again, just that were calling them out for quality issues. As I said, Adobe is the one that picks up more quality issues and more issues. So the others are a lot easier to get past. Going into the back end of Shutterstock, Shutterstock will actually only keep the ones that are rejected for about 3 weeks, I think it is. So if I go into this one, this is a photo of my partner teaching my daughter how to draw, but they've actually come back and said this particular asset has been rejected. Funnily enough, Adobe accepted it, but it's telling me that it contains subject matter that potentially infringes on intellectual property rights. So the only thing I can actually think of is the pencil, or maybe the book here. Anyway, so for some reason these guys didn't take it, but everybody else did. So I'm not going to bother resubmitting this one because I can't fix anything in it. This is deposit photos. I've had 2 rejected in deposit photos. This one was noise, pixelation, poor quality. When viewed at full size, the image has obvious unnatural quality issues. I will give deposit photos this one because this flower is white and yellow, I think. So I fully put a edit on this and they're calling me out on it. So I'm not going to object to that one. Everybody else has accepted it, but these guys didn't. And I did even label it that it was a funny edit. And this one is a photo of my 2 daughters again at this gorgeous sunflower field. But deposit photos had said missing model release. If you zoom in, you can slightly see my daughter's face. And last but not least, I have Pond 5. Now, I don't know why nobody else picked this up, but Pond 5 did. They have rejected all of my sunflower images because I didn't name them properly. So it's still coming up as like image underscore whatever it is. So once I rename them, I can put them back up to Pond 5. And these 2, I didn't put them in under editorial. And anytime you're doing anything with a logo, you have to load them up as editorial images. So those are the ones that have been returned or rejected. As I said, I am going to rename these sunflower ones and resubmit them to Pond 5. If they're rejected for reasons outside of my control, I won't bother resubmitting. But if there's something like this where I can just rename them, then I will do those changes and get them back up. And that's all the ones I've had rejected.
As I've mentioned previously, I set my targets based on things that I can control, which in this case is uploads. I have no control over what is and isn't accepted. I also aim for a good, better, best system. So depending on how busy each month is, I can just adjust accordingly. Like if you have kids, you know just how unpredictable they can be. Between inconsiderately getting sick to last minute, oh yeah mum, I need you to bake like 3,000 cupcakes for tomorrow. Even though my teacher told me this like 6 months ago, Sound familiar? So I find that this method of good, better, best allows me to just be a little bit kinder to myself in the goal setting process. So you don't just give up on your goals because you constantly feel like you're failing, while still having the opportunity to challenge yourself if the children decide to be considerate that month and not go around licking other children and getting sick, or asking you to bake 3,000 cupcakes. So February's goals were good, 150 images uploaded, better, 200 images uploaded, and best was 300 images uploaded. And don't forget, these are all the same images, all the same assets, just uploaded to 5 separate sites. And drum roll, I got good. My total portfolio to the end of February was 152 images, which was just over 100 images uploaded last month. And I'll be honest, a very large portion of those were being uploaded on the 29th of March. So thank goodness for a leap year and an extra day. Also, as mentioned, these were all coming off my hard drive, not ones I specifically went out to take. The very first target I'm aiming for in March is 200, and that'll be my good goal. Better will be 250 and best will be 300. So how do I come up with these numbers? Well, I'm basing my good number on the next round 100. So I'm at 152 currently, so the good goal for here will be 200. And the best target is 300, which would make my uploads average 100 per month. This year, my ultimate target is 1,200 uploads. So that's about 100 a month. I've based this number on other stock photographers that I've seen on YouTube and the results that they're getting. And I feel that with everything else happening in my life between kids and homeschooling and household stuff and trying to do the YouTube as well, that's a stretch for me, but it's accomplishable if I stay focused. I also decided on this number because I felt that it would give me the best sort of barometer reading for the year. So instead of just blindly constantly falling forward, by the end of the 12 months, I'll have some solid data to base decisions on as to whether or not I want to continue stock photography in 2025. And that will be a mix of actual income numbers versus the time that I've put into it. I've seen other stock photographers on YouTube who've said that they've loaded images and not seen any results for 6 months. So I think 12 months is a good time frame for this experiment and to really get some decent numbers to be able to base some decisions on. So if you saw last month's video, which was January's stock report, you'll already know my sales and income for February, as I only got one sale and made 10 whole cents, which was at the beginning of last month, which I kind of gave away in last month's report. Now I've already got some sales for March, but I'm gonna save that number for next month's report. Now for the big question. So Tracy, if you're only making cents per month, why keep going? Aren't you discouraged? Well, short answer, I'm crazy, and no, I'm really not discouraged. So many of the people I've watched have like 10,000 assets or more. A portfolio of 150 images is a drop in the bucket. It's not actually that hard to achieve 1,000 images in a year because it works out to be only about 3 or 4 per day. One stock tutor that I watched said it takes him about an hour and a half every day. So he figures it out in the morning, takes him about 10 minutes. He's already got a list of sites that he goes to for inspiration for the day. He creates the images or takes the photos during the day. And don't forget, he's only doing 3 or 4, so he can have the same setup and just have 2 or 3 different angles and a video. And then he edits them and uploads them in the evening, which is about another 20 minutes, half an hour by the time that you edit them, keyword them and upload them. So I really want to emphasize that this doesn't have to be a massive time commitment to create a really large portfolio by the end of the year. You just need to be willing to put in consistent effort to create that portfolio. And truthfully, you could do it daily like he does, or you could devote 1 day a week to it and do it that way. Or if you're going to do it monthly, you could devote 2 or 3 days to coming up with ideas, photographing them, creating them, editing, keywording, and uploading. And truthfully, once you start getting into good routines with it, and once there's some structure and some strategy to what you're doing, you'll be able to come up with ideas quickly and the whole process will become a lot more streamlined. Everything new always takes longer to do because you're learning through the process and figuring out your personal preferences with it. So expect that as you keep going, you will become more efficient with it once you get those structures and systems in place. Just don't let the overwhelm of doing new things stop you from getting in your groove, because you can do it. Now, this is a monthly series, so as the saying goes, subscribe if you want to learn alongside me and or come along on this journey with me. Click the notification bell if you're the kind of person that needs to know things first. And if you got to the end of this video, if you could click the like button, that tells YouTube to share this out to a few more people that might be able to benefit from the series. And last but not least, on a serious note, if you have any questions about stock photography, I'm here to help. So drop them in the comments and I'll tell you whatever I know to this point. And if not, I will find the answer. There is always room in the stock landscape for more contributors. And if I can help you on your journey, please let me know in the comments. See you next time.